Another edition of Intellectual Adda on Creativity Café. I'm Dr. S M A Moin, a reader in storytelling and brand communication at Queen Mary University of London, and your host for today's Intellectual Adda. Today, we explore a fascinating topic. From Einstein to Michio Kaku, rethinking the wonders of the universe, leadership, and future of civilization. In other words, with a naval admiral at the helm, I'm going to take you on a fascinating journey through relativity, quantum physics, the search for a unified theory, and what these extraordinary ideas might teach us about leadership, learning, and humility. For thousands of years, human beings have looked towards the sky and asked timeless questions. Where did the universe come from? What is reality? Why does nature follow elegant mathematical law? And perhaps the greatest questions of all, what is humanity's place within this vast cosmos? Well, every generation has searched for answers. From Isaac Newton, who revealed the laws governing motion and gravity, to Albert Einstein, who transformed our understanding of space and time. From Max Planck, Niels Bohr, and Richard Feynman, who opened the extraordinary world of quantum physics, to Stephen Hawking and Michio Kaku, who continued humanity's search for a deeper understanding of relativity and the possibility of a unified theory of universe. Today's conversation, however, is not about proving string theory, resolving quantum mechanics, or discovering a theory of everything. Instead, we ask a different and perhaps even more timely and more important questions. Can humanity's search to understand the universe help us become wiser leader, better institutions, and a more thoughtful civilization? Can the humility of science teach humility in leadership? Can the interconnectedness revealed by modern physics inspire system thinking in organization? To explore these fascinating ideas, I'm delighted to welcome back an exceptional guest whose career itself reflects the integration of science, engineering, strategic leadership, and higher education. Rear Admiral Akhter Hossain is the Vice Chancellor of Bangladesh Maritime University, former Assistant Chief of Naval Staff Material of Bangladesh Navy, naval architect, engineer, a strategic leader, researcher, and author of over 250 journal articles and over 30 books in the areas of physics, quantum foundations, cosmology, artificial intelligence, innovation, and the future of civilization. His lifelong curiosity extends far beyond engineering into philosophy, cosmology, and humanity's enduring quest to understand the universe. Vice Chancellor, welcome once again to Creativity Café.
Thank you, Dr. Moin. I always enjoy your intellectual adda, but you say very high about me. I am just student of cosmology. Thank you.
It's really a pleasure, Admiral, to have you in my intellectual adda, because you bring fascinating idea for me and for my audience and take us into an amazing and thought-provoking journey all the time. So let us start our first part of our intellectual adda today, which we call the wonder. So I'm going to ask you a question about humanity's endless curiosity. Vice Chancellor, as you know, throughout history, every civilization has looked towards the heavens with wonder. Ancient astronomers mapped the stars. Philosophers debated the nature of reality. and scientists from Newton to Einstein transformed our understanding of the cosmos. Today, physicists explore quantum mechanics, black holes, and even the possibility of hidden dimension through string theory. Yet despite extraordinary technological progress, many of the universe's greatest mysteries remain unresolved. Why do you think humanity has always been driven to ask this profound question? Is our fascination with the universe simply scientific curiosity, or does it reveal something deeper about who we are as human beings? Why, Chancellor?
Very stimulating query, Dr. I believe curiosity is one of the humanity's defining characteristics. Curiosity is a predominant driving force that shape human evolutions, learning, and growth. It's energize individual to ask questions, pursue new informations, data, and look beyond basic survival as well as persistence. Long before telescope, satellite, or particle gauges, our ancestors looked at the night sky and recognized that reality extended far beyond their immediate experience. That sense of wonders became the starting point of philosophy, science, and civilization itself. Every major scientific breakthrough, from Newton's law of gravity to Einstein's relativity and modern quantum physics, began not with certainty but with curiosity. Physics has continuously expanded our understanding while simultaneously revealing how much remain unknown. The more we discover, the more mysteries emerge. This reminds us that knowledge is never a destination, but a continuous journey. I believe our search to understand the universe is ultimately a search to understand ourselves, because every question about the cosmos also challenges us to consider humanity's place within it. Actually, we keep moving forwards, opening new doors and doing new things because we are curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths and pushing us towards new destination, so that enduring curiosity is what drives both scientific discovery and human progress. This ongoing journey from certainty towards deeper understanding is one of the recurring themes throughout the evolution of modern physics, Dr. Moin.
Fantastic, Vice Chancellor. You just have taken us into the realm of curiosity. And I can see that actually the role curiosity plays for human success and human progress. Because you have said so much about curiosity and positioned curiosity as kind of center of gravity while answering this question, possibly I need to ask you a question about a person who was possibly the most curious person in the world. So, Doctor, as you know, that Albert Einstein transformed modern science by showing that space and time are not fixed, but interconnected. Yet many people are surprised to learn that after developing the theory of relativity, he devoted much of the rest of his life to searching for something even greater, a single theory capable of unifying all the fundamental forces of nature. Although he never completed that quest, physicists continue the search today through ideas such as quantum gravity and string theory. What lessons do you think leaders, educators, and researchers can learn from Einstein's lifelong pursuit of a vision that he himself never lived to realize?
Well, Dr. Moin, Albert Einstein transformed our understanding of universe through his revolutionary theories of relativity, which proved that space and time form a flexible, unified four-dimensional fabrics known as space-time. Dr. Moin, please look. Einstein's greatest legacy extends beyond the questions he discovered. Perhaps his most remarkable quality was the courage to continue asking questions. Even after changing the course of science, many people would have been satisfied after developing relativity. Yet Einstein remained intellectually restless because he believed that nature possessed a deeper unity waiting to be discovered. Although he did not succeed in constructing a unified theory, his pursuit inspired generation of scientists to continue exploring one physics' greatest challenges, reconciling relativity with quantum mechanics. For me, this demonstrates that genuine leadership is measured not only by immediate achievement, but also by the questions we leave for future generations to investigate. Visionary leaders build intellectual foundations that others continue to develop. They understand that progress is cumulative and requiring humility, perseverance, and a willingness to contribute to a journey that extends well beyond one's lifetimes. The continuing search for a unified understanding of nature remains one of the central frontiers of modern physics. Dr. Moin.
Fantastic, Vice Chancellor. You just said it so profoundly well that I was really paying attention, and but particularly when you said that Einstein's most fascinating thing could be courage to continue asking questions and try to see the deeper unity within the universe. That's really fascinating because Einstein was very, very successful, but yet he had the courage to ask questions which could even find something and make him unsuccessful about his previous invention, but he was dare enough to ask question. And that not only found out something in his lifetime, but people actually continued that journey. So that's really fascinating. So I could actually catch the phrase that you said that a journey that extends well beyond one's lifetime. This is profound. So when you talk, I can see that the way you express so difficult thing. I mean, I know that you have written a lot of books and a lot of journal articles about contemporary issues, but the simplicity that you bring while addressing complex things, this is simply elegant, Admiral. So dear audience, we were part of wonder, discovering wonder. Now I want to bring you to part 2, which is about mystery. So, Admiral, I'm going to ask you a question about string theory and the search for unity, because we discussed something in the previous questions that sets the background very, very well. So, Vice Chancellor, as you know, that Einstein spent decades searching for a unified understanding of nature. Today, one of the most ambitious attempts to continue that quest is string theory, as we know, discovered by Michio Kaku, or attributed to Michio Kaku. I think you know better. It proposes that the fundamental building blocks of the universe may not be point-like particles, but unimaginably tiny vibrating strings existing across multiple dimensions. Whether string theory is ultimately confirmed or not, it represents one of the boldest scientific ideas ever proposed. As someone who has spent a lifetime integrating engineering, yes, I'm talking about you, integrating engineering, leadership, and scientific inquiry, what fascinates you most about string theory, about which you have number of papers? Most importantly, can its search for unity encourage leaders to think differently about complexity and interconnected systems?
Great question. Great question. Great question, dear professor. Michio Kaku and string theory actually tries to fulfill Einstein's final dream that unifying general relativity and quantum mechanics. It perhaps or it replaces point particles with tiny vibrating strings, naturally incorporating gravity to describe all physical laws. What fascinates me most about string theory is not merely its mathematics, but its ambitions. It attempts to answer one of the humanity's oldest questions: can the immense diversity we observe in nature emerge from a deeper underlying unity? Whether string theory ultimately proves correct remains an open scientific question, but the intellectual courage behind it is inspiring. It reminds us that progress often begins by challenging established assumption rather than accepting comfortable explanation. For leaders, actually the lesson. The lesson lies not in borrowing scientific theories as management models, but is adopting a similar way of thinking. Organizations like the universe are complex systems whose behavior often emerges from relationships rather than isolated parts. Effective leaderships, therefore, requires understanding connection, interaction, and pattern, instead of focusing only on individual components. The source of unity is physics remind us to seek coherence, integrations, and shared purpose within human system while remaining intellectually humble about what we still do not know. This destination between scientific theory and leadership practice is essential for maintaining intellectual rigor. Dr. Moin.
Fantastic, fantastic, Admiral. That was very, very powerful answer. And I particularly like the lesson, and you highlighted while talking about lesson. So it just in my mind is still very, very kind of alive. So you said that the lesson does not lie in borrowing scientific theories as management model, but in adopting a similar way of thinking. It's not about sort of looking for an answer or taking one thing in, and try to use in another kind of scenario, but it's about borrowing the philosophy. Borrowing the philosophy, that's very important. And he also said that like organization is very much like a universe, because universe is complex, so is the organization complex. So leaders need to understand the system kind of crisscrossing the organization, and they need to see the organization as a system. And so that's very, very powerful, Admiral. I always find that actually, I mean, the way you answered the difficult question in a simple way, and our audience, they are highly benefited. And I also sort of, try to reiterate. I don't know how good am I in doing that, but try my best so that we can contribute towards the understanding of our audience. So I would get into the next question, Vice Chancellor. It may not be about something hidden in some part of the universe, but it is about the hidden universe. So, Vice Chancellor, one of the most astonishing discoveries of modern cosmology is that everything we can directly observe, such as stars, planets, galaxies, and even ourselves, appear to account for only a small fraction of the universe. Physicists estimate that most of the cosmos consists of mysterious dark matter, dark energy, and black hole, whose true nature remains unknown. In other words, the visible universe may be only a small part of a reality. Does this scientific perspective encourage us to think differently about leadership, Admiral? Are organizations like the universe also shaped by invisible forces that are often more influential than the structure we can actually see? What do you think?
Brilliant observation, Dr. Moin. Really brilliant. One of the greatest lessons from modern cosmology is humility. Dark matter is an invisible type of matter that holds galaxies together but cannot be seen or touched. Whereas dark energy is a mysterious force that pushes the universe to expand faster and faster. And about black holes, are very heavy space objects with gravity so strong that even light cannot escape them. We still don't fully know what happens at the very center of those, called the singularity. Actually, great wonder is that physicists or scientists still don't know if the universe will expand forever or slow down or crash back together. The remarkable advances of the last century have shown that what we can directly observe represent only a small portion of the universe, while dark matter, dark energy, and black holes continue to challenge our understanding of reality. Although those concepts belongs to physics, they also remind leaders that visible structures rarely tell the whole story. In organization, the formal hierarchy is only one part of the system. Beneath it, like culture, trust, shared values, informal relation, motivation, and collective purpose, altogether forces that cannot easily be measured, yet profoundly influence outcomes. Wise leaders, therefore, learn to pay attention not only to what is visible, but also to what shapes behaviors beneath the surface. Modern science teaches us that reality is often richer than appearance. Leadership similarly requires curiosity, careful observation, and the humility to recognize that many of the most influential forces within human system remain unseen until we take the time to understand them. Our understanding to dark matter, dark energy, or even universe's ultimate fate remains incomplete, reminding us that uncertainty is an enduring feature of scientific inquiry. Dr. Moin.
Wow, Admiral. Yeah, love the way you ended the answer, that uncertainty is an enduring feature of scientific inquiry. So the power of uncertainty, you just, the way you highlighted, the way you told this story, that's really, really fascinating, because sometimes leaders, they get confused when they see uncertain scenario, but it is the uncertainty that make them better leader if they learn how to deal with it. I also liked another part of your answer, that when you said that the visible structure rarely tell the whole story. I mean, you know that I'm a storyteller. So whenever you use the word story, it instantly catches my attention. So visual structure really tell the whole story. That's really, really powerful. And that's why you said that whatever we see in the organizations, they may be part of a system, but what is far more important are those things that are beneath, such as you mentioned, culture, trust, shared values, informal relationships, some of the things as I can remember, try to remember. So that's a wonderful, Admiral. I mean, by Chancellor, I would like to take our audience to the to part 3 of our today's Intellectual Adda, which is wisdom. So we started with wonder, then we went to mystery, and now we are coming to wisdom. So my question now is about living with uncertainty, because you finished your answer with uncertainty. Admiral, one of the greatest revelations in modern physics was the realization that uncertainty is not simply a limitation of our instruments, but a fundamental feature of nature. At the same time, today's leaders face uncertainty from artificial intelligence, geopolitical tension, climate change, and rapid technological disruption. Just a few to mention. Has modern physics changed the way you think about uncertainty in leadership?
Very much so. Actually, the universe, what you have told, is a mysterious story, and you are a great storyteller. Appreciate. Classical physics encourage the belief that if we possessed enough information, we could predict almost everything. Contemporary physics paint a more complex or layered picture. The universe is uncertain, and it is full of big secrets such as dark matter, dark energy, and black holes. Black holes, the total is a mysterious. Quantum mechanics introduce probability into the heart of nature, while cosmology reminds us that the universe still contains profound mysteries and the ultimate fate of the cosmos. For me, the lesson is not that uncertainty prevents actions, but that it demands better judgment. Throughout my diverse career, complete information was rarely available. Leaders had to analyze evidence, evaluate risk, make responsible decisions, and remain willing to adapt when a new information emerged. That principle applies equally today. Whether leading a university or a business or a nation, wisdom lies not in eliminating uncertainty, but it is responding to it with curiosity, humility, and resilience. Modern physics has shifted our thinking from absolute certainty towards informed judgment, and effective leadership must do the same, dear professor.
Wow, wow, wow. By Chancellor, you just said it very well. I need to really iterate a few things for our audience. Something that I really liked from your answer is that you said that quantum mechanics introduced probability into the heart of nature. So you are saying that how probability theory is coming to play while we are thinking about nature. But then you suddenly moved from quantum mechanics to cosmology. And you said that another scenario, that cosmology reminds us that the universe still contains profound mysteries. So in one hand, you are saying, you are talking about probability. On the other hand, you are talking about mysteries. And you mentioned some of those mysteries like dark matter, dark energy. And I mean, these are so mysterious. But again, when you are wrapping up, sort of trying to boiling down to leadership lessons. The way you summed up was really, really fascinating. You talked about wisdom and said that wisdom lies not in eliminating uncertainty, but in responding to it. But how? You also talked about that. Responding to it with curiosity, humility, and resilience. So I think, dear audience, those of you who are thinking about leading in the world of uncertainty or in the universe of uncertainty, I think today's conversation might be valuable to you. And Admiral, I'm really, really grateful for your answer. So let me ask the next question. Well, it's the most popular, in the contemporary world, because this is about artificial intelligence and humanity. We are sort of standing at the crossroads and asking the kind of paradigm shift and how that will change the next civilization or impact the humanity. So as artificial intelligence become increasingly powerful, many people wonder whether machines will eventually outperform humans in most form of decision making. Looking ahead, do you believe the future belongs primarily to more intelligent technology or to wiser human leadership? What's your
Wonderful
take
way.
on?
Wonderful way to ask question, Dr. Moin. Mechanics will likely outperform humans in specific data-heavy choices, but total supremacy is unlikely because artificial intelligence lacks human traits like deep context, ethics, and emotional intelligence. AI will undoubtedly transform every sector of society, just as electricity and the internet transformed previous generations. Yet, intelligence alone has never been sufficient for leaderships. Technology answers many questions of how, but people must still answer the deeper questions of why and for whom. As our technologies become more powerful, our moral responsibility also increases. I therefore believe the future belongs neither to humans alone, nor to intelligent mechanics alone, but to thoughtful partnerships between humans' wisdom and artificial intelligence. The greatest leaders will combine scientific literature with ethical reasoning, technological competence with empathy, and innovations with stewardship. Progress should always be measured not only by what technology enables us to do, but also by how wisely we choose to use it. This balance between technological achievements and human responsibility is increasingly important as quantum and AI or smart technologies continue to evolve. Thank you, Dr. Moin, to ask a nice question.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor. I think your answer is fascinating, to be honest, to do. It has got a lot of wisdom inside it. Particularly, you sort of started with that technology answers many questions about how. But still, the more critical question of why and for whom, these are the questions possibly need to be answered by the human. But I like the way you put it, that saying that it's the neither party going to reign, rather the thoughtful partnership between human wisdom and artificial intelligence. That is going to make the magic if we can really make it work. But also you highlighted about that the greatest leaders will combine scientific literacy with ethical reasoning. That's very, very powerful. You also added that technological competence with empathy and innovation with stewardship. So this particular combination that you brought into your answer is something that I really, really like. And I think this has got power for our audience to understand really, really leadership well in time of unimaginable shift, in time of never seen before innovation, and all those things bringing never before seen uncertainty. So I'm going to steer towards my final question, Admiral. So it's about the future leader. Vice Chancellor, this is a broader question. So if a young student watching this conversation asked you, what kind of leader does the 21st century need? What would your answer be, Doctor?
Well. I would tell them the future will not belong simply to those who know the most, but to those who continue to learn. The challenges ahead, artificial intelligence, climate change, cybersecurity, space explorations, and global instability, are interconnected. They cannot be solved from within a single discipline or by a single profession. Future leaders will need scientific learning, ethical judgment, system thinking, and the humility to work across boundaries. Above all, they must remain curious. Every major scientific advance begins because someone was willing to ask a questions that others had overlooked. Leadership should be no different. The best leader do not claim to process all the answers. They create environments where better questions can be asked, diverse perspectives can be heard, or collective wisdom can emerge. In many ways, leadership is itself a journey of lifelong discovery, one that mirrors humanity's continuing exploration of the universe. In 21st century, in complex world where multiple global and national crises, disaster, natural calamities, tense geopolitical situation are unfolding simultaneously, emphasizing the crucial need to prepare professionals for multifaceted sustainability, challenges, and problem solving. We need to interdisciplinary educational framework that integrate technology assessment, system thinking, and system dynamics to support the development of sustainability related competence and moral characters. The future will favor leaders who combine knowledge with honesty, profound character, innovation with responsibility, flexibility, accountability, transparency, stewardships, and ambition with service. That is the kind of leadership our world increasingly needs. This emphasis on lifelong learning, interdisciplinary thinking, and responsible innovations is constant or consistent with the broader visions developed across my recent work of science, technology, and the future civilization. I think that way. What do you think, Dr. Moin?
That's really fascinating, Vice Chancellor. I love the way you answered, but some of the things I have to actually reiterate for my audience, because I can see gems of wisdom in your answer. And this demands some reiteration. You said that sort of the future will not belong simply to those who know the most, but those who continue to learn. This is very powerful, dear audience, because you see, we are living in a time where everything is changing. Change is the real constant. So some of the skills that might matter today most, maybe does not matter at all tomorrow. So knowing the most doesn't matter, but continue to learn. That is what is the most important thing, as Admiral Akhter iterated. And when he was saying that, I was thinking about, the futurist Alvin Toffler. So Alvin Toffler said that the illiterate of the 21st century are those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this is powerful, because what you said, it resonated with Alvin Toffler's statement. Then I also liked when you said that the future leader will need scientific literacy, ethical judgment, system thinking. Some of the things you mentioned, those are so powerful. And moreover, the humility to work across boundary. So this across boundary is very, very important, because it's not about like being a specialist in one area, but because we are in system, because we talk about system thinking, we talk about connectedness. So this is important, Admiral. And again, you said that above all, what is most important is the curiosity. So leader has to remain curious. But again, I loved one thing that you said, that it's about creating an environment where better question can be asked. So you see, if the questions are not better, questions are not effective, it doesn't matter whether answers are right. But you also said diverse perspective can be celebrated. So not just one person's way of thinking, but we welcome everybody's way of thinking. And that can create real synergy. You talked about collective wisdom, that collective wisdom. So it's not just one person contribute, but it's like synergy created by team. So those are really, really powerful, Admiral. So, Vice Chancellor, thank you very much for sharing your time, your knowledge, and perhaps most importantly, your sense of wonder.
Thank you, dear Dr. Moin, and your respected audience.
Thank you very much. Let me just quickly close our today's Intellectual Adda with a few words. Today's conversation, dear audience, reminds us that science is much more than a collection of equations or theories. It is a way of thinking, as Admiral was talking about, a way of questioning, exploring, and remaining humble in the face of unknown. Because how much we know. Socrates once said, standing in the roads of Athens, that what I know is that I know nothing. And that brings not only humility, but also curiosity to know more. So we traveled from Newton's law to Einstein's relativity, from quantum mechanics to string theory, from dark matter to artificial intelligence. Yet, perhaps the most important lesson is that our understanding of universe expands. So too should our understanding of ourselves. We need to also understand ourselves. As you remember that Socrates said, know thyself. So great civilizations are built not only by technological breakthrough, but also by thoughtful leaders, ethical institutions, and curious minds, which has come time and again in Admiral's word. And these curious minds willing to ask difficult questions.